Hi guys, this is Fizsplat and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. This is the last trial for this case. So this is probably going to be the last episode of this case, and now we're going to be moving on to the next case, which is actually pretty good that I remember. So, well, obviously this case is really good as well, but the next one's even better. So I think the investigation was quite short. I think it was only like 20 minutes or something. But we have found out quite a bit of, not information, but I think we've worked out who the killer is. But it's now trying to work out how to prove it, because it's going to be very hard. We did find out a lot of information about what happened 5 years ago. So let's get into it, and hopefully we are able to solve the case. Hopefully. Okay, court is now in session for the trial of Mr. Will Powers. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Today will be the final day of this trial. Yeah, so basically, I think most cases will be 3 days. So you'll have 3 trial days. So, because it's our 3rd trial day, then it's our last day. So basically, if we don't convict anyone, then it's just case is not solved, basically. I hope both the prosecution and the defence will be able to present decisive evidence. Very well, Mr. Edgeworth, your opening statement. In yesterday's session, the defence presented us with a new theory for this case. He claims that the scene of the crime was in fact Studio 2. Today, I will call on people present in the Studio 2 trailer that day, so that'll be the producer and the director, I think. From the testimonies, the truth will become clear. Very well. Edgeworth seems a bit on edge today. Edgeworth? Because he's on edge. You may call your first witness, Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution called Miss Vazquez to the stand. Miss Vazquez is a producer who is present in the Studio 2 trailer that day. Lovely. Well, last time we met her, she almost tried to kill us, so hopefully this goes well this time. Will the witness state her name and occupation? Vazquez. I'm a producer for Global Studios. On the day of the murder, you were in the trailer in Studio 2. As everyone here knows, yes. I dislike needless banter. If you must pontificate, don't know what that means, do it when I'm not here. Very well, Miss Vazquez. Please give the court your testimony concerning the day of the murder. Nick, I know she did it. Make her pay. Right. If she's guilty, I'll catch her with her pants down, so to speak. Okay. I entered the trailer, a little before noon. The meeting began at 12 sharp. It ended at 4. There was to be a rehearsal afterwards, so we went to Studio 1. I was fatigued, so I had Sal take me. At 2:30, we took a 15-minute break in the meeting. Sal and I ate T-bone steaks on a table in front of the trailer, which we knew that happened. We found Hammer's body later when we all went to Studio 1. That's all. I have a question about one part of your testimony. You were fatigued, so you had Sal take you? The van. There's a van at Studio 2. Wait, we do know that, yeah. There's a van. I had him take me in that. I thought it might be risky to walk with that monkey's head toppling over. I see. Very well, Mr. Wright, you cross-examination. We've got this. Woohoo! Okay. Okay, fatigued. You had Sal take you. What does that mean? It means what I just said. I had Sal take me in the Studio 2 van. And what were you doing during that time? Don't hit your desk. It irritates me. Yeah, Mr. Wright. Oh. It was a 15-minute break. Sal and I ate 2 bone steaks on the table in front of the trailer. Do you have someone who can verify this? Sal. Ah, right, okay. Oh. I don't have proof. Lovely. As I thought. You claim you ate a T-bone steak. But I say you did not. What's this now, Mr. Wright? Look at this. It's a plate. This plate was on the table in the employee area. As you can see, a large bone has been left behind. Mr. Wright, need I remind you it was a T-bone steak? Exactly my point. Remember, if you will, Miss Fizquez and Mr. Manella ate at a table outside the trailer. There was no bone there. The plate were bare. Miss Fizquez, tell me, how can a person eat a T-bone steak and not leave the bone? I think I know how. You didn't eat the steak. You took your steak and threw it somewhere, like the incinerator. I see. Then what was Miss Fizquez doing during her break? Isn't it obvious, Your Honor? Picking on Salmonella. She was meeting with a steel samurai. Order. Are you saying yes, Your Honor? As Miss Fizquez left the trailer to eat her steak, she ran into the steel samurai. And then you did it. You killed him with your own hands. Mr. Wright, isn't that a little presumptuous? What kind of stunt are you trying to pull, Wright? Let him claim what he wants. You say I did it? Yes. Fascinating. And here I was worrying that today would be as boring as all the rest. Very well. Let us have a battle of wits, you and I. Any day, Vizquez. Good luck, Nick. Oh, I'm gonna need it. What was that murder weapon again? Oh yes, the samurai spear. Yes. I am, as you can see, a woman of petite stature. How could I possibly use that heavy spear as a weapon? I think you would have a great deal of difficulty using that as a weapon. Pretty much anyone would. Ha. You see? Yes. However, that has no bearing on this case. Meaning, we know who actually did it. What actually did it, even. The steel samurai was not the murder weapon. What? What is the meaning of this? The spear was found lying next to the victim's body. I have proof, Your Honor. I can prove that the samurai spear was not used as the murder weapon. Ah, 'cause it's broken. I present my proof, the so-called murder weapon. But that is the murder weapon. Not so fast. Remember that the spear broke during the morning action scene run-through? But someone fixed the spear. It was the security lady. She fixed it with duct tape. Now tell me, how is it possible for someone to stab a man who is wearing a fake costume of this through the chest? Hello, I'm back. Sorry, there was problems with my camera for some weird reason. You can see me. You can see me now. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know. I think my thing might have been my camera must have been a bit fuzzy, so I just had to fix my camera. But we're back. We are back. We are back. Okay, so the steel samurai is not the weapon. Spear, even. Order, order. Mr. Wright, what are you driving at? Think about what you're... Silence. I am the one testifying here and I will be heard. Okay. Are you quite sane? Are you even aware of what you're saying? If the samurai spear was not the murder weapon, then pray tell what was. How was Hammer killed? Well, Mr. Wright, can you tell us what weapon was used to kill Mr. Hammer? I can tell you. Maybe? I'm gonna say I can tell you. Would I make a claim like that if I couldn't tell you what the weapon was? I'm afraid your confidence can sometimes be unfounded, Mr. Wright. Very well, let's see this murder weapon then. You see, I don't have... Maybe I could use the photo? Maybe? Look at this photo. Boom! What is this? Why, that's Jack Hammer standing at the top of the stairs. Order, order. If I cannot have order, this trial will be suspended. Mr. Wright, what is this all about? This photograph is from 5 years ago. There was an unfortunate accident at Global Studios. This is a photo of that very accident. Not a word of this was leaked to the outside. It was a close-kept secret at the studios. What does this have to do with the current case? Mr. Edgeworth, you still can't see it. See the fallen man in this photo? See how the fence post pierced him through the chest? What are you saying? Yes. What happened 5 years ago? Has happened again. Mr. Wright, continue. It's 2:30 PM on the day of the murder. Ms. Diva Squares meets Jack Hammer outside the Studio 2 trailer. Then she did it. She pushed Mr. Hammer off the stairs onto the fence. just like Mr. Hammerhead has himself done 5 years ago. Though whether she did it on purpose or by accident, I cannot say. In other words, the victim, Mr. Hammer, he died in the same way that he caused another man to die 5 years ago? I believe so, yes. Ironic, isn't it? Ho, ho, very creative, Mr. Wright. I could use a man like you on my script writing staff. You deny that what I say is true? Mr. Wright, let's say for the sake of our argument that Hammer died at the trailer as you say. Yet the body was found at Studio 1, was it not? And in the evil magistrate's costume, no less. Are you then claiming that I carried the body to Studio 1 and returned to the trailer and in the space of a 15-minute break? How could I have disposed of the body? The break in the meeting at the trailer lasted 15 minutes from 2:30 to 2:45. Could Jack Hammer have been pushed off the stairs to his death, then carried to Studio 1 and placed inside his costume? There wasn't enough time. Indeed. Well, Mr. Wright, how could she have dealt with the body? She could move it. Or did they mean she had another way? You'd be surprised. I bet she could do it. When people think their life depends on it, they can do amazing things. Mr. Wright, this is not an episode of That's Incredible. If you claim she did everything in 15 minutes, let me guess, show me proof. Correct, show me proof. How am I supposed to prove that? Then I won't have you making unsubstantiated claims. Wait a second, how does he know what I'm thinking? Ha! I need only look at the cold sweat running down your face to know what you're thinking. Mr. Wright, perhaps you'd like to reconsider your claim? Well, Mr. Wright, how could she have dealt with the body? She had another way? Well, yeah, that's what I meant. For instance. Actually, for that matter, there was no need for her to do the deed in 15 minutes. And there was a way for you to carry that body. Interesting. Let's hear it then. Mr. Wright, please show us how she carried the body. With this van. Miss Vasquez, you carried the body to Studio 1. And you used the studio van to do it. Recall your testimony. There was to be a rehearsal afterwards. We went to Studio 1. I was fatigued, so I had Sal take me. There was a van there, right? I had Sal drive me. You used the van to carry the body to Studio 1. Then before everyone else got there, you put the body into the magistrate costume. Hold on, right. Don't forget, it was Sal Manella that drove the van. Are you suggesting that Mr. Manella was a conspirator? Maybe. Maybe? The body had to have been placed in the van and put into the costume. There's no way Miss Vasquez could have done that alone. Also, don't forget that they had to dispose of the Steel Samurai costume. They had to because it was covered in Mr. Hammer's blood. They probably burnt it in that small incinerator. Well, Miss Vasquez, shall I continue? No need. You're smarter than you look, Mr. Wright. I lose. You win. It was fun. I win? So, what happens next? Don't question mark me. Don't you have anything to say? What would you like me to say? Huh? I lost? You know, something like that? I just said that. Wait, so you mean Diva Squared? So it was you? You killed Jack Hammer? Okay. Who can say? Huh? Are you sure I did it? Mr. Wright, we just engaged in a battle of wits, and the result of that battle, you proved the possibility that I murdered Hammer. Right. But that is only a possibility. Proof is another thing altogether. You lack decisive proof, Mr. Wright. Mr. Edgeworth, your thoughts? Of course, it is as the witness says. Certainly, it does seem very likely she did it, but there's no proof. Edgeworth isn't sure. Well, I came here as a witness today. If you've no more questions, I'll be leaving. What do I do now? Testify again. I'd like you to testify again. Testify again? Know when to give up, Mr. Wright. Think about it. Even if I were to testify again, what's the point? I can only say what I said before, the truth, Mr. Wright. I've already said all there is to say. What would happen if I said it again? You'd ask the same questions, get the same answers. A waste of time. As it seems there are no further questions, I would like to end the cross-examination of the witness, Miss Fizsplat. Yes, Mr. Edgeworth? I was hoping to come up with a question while I was objecting, Your Honour. I didn't. I see. Very well. Your Honour, I request that the witness testify again. You are the prosecutor, are you not? Why are you badgering me? I'm your witness. I just want to hear your testimony again. Does this make any sense to you, Your Honour? I don't see that we have anything to gain by repeating the last several minutes. Mr. Edgeworth, I too see little point in making Miss Fizsplat repeat herself. What exactly did you want her to testify about? Well yes, indeed, verily I see. I want to hear about what happened after they found the body. After they found the body? Very well. The witness will testify to the court concerning this matter. Nick, why did Edgeworth? Who knows? He probably realised she did it too. But wasn't he the one that said he always gets a guilty verdict? After all that, Edgeworth. After finding the body. I was with Sal and Oldbag, the security lady, when we found the body. The assistant was there too, only Powers was absent. I immediately called the police, then Powers showed up. The security lady Oldbag was quite agitated, pointing at Powers saying he did it. I asked to be left out of the proceedings. I went back to the trailer to get my script and direction notes. Then I went home. I see no issues raised by this testimony. Mr. Wright or cross-examination. She may be acting tough now, but if you put her on the spot, she's sure to falter. find the key you need and twist the truth out of her neck. What time was that? We were to meet at 5 for the rehearsal, so I'd say it was then. When exactly did you and Mr. Manella arrive at the studio? About 10 minutes before. I wasn't stuffing any bodies into costumes, mind you. Where were the other employees when you got to the studio? They weren't there. Well, then you could have put Hammer in that costume with Salmonella's help. Oh? What did I just say? Did I not just say I wasn't stuffing any bodies into any costumes? You should try to listen to what people are saying, boy. Boy? The witness will continue her testimony. Mr. Powers was taking a nap, correct? So he says. Did no one go to call him? Remember. Remember what? There was a dead body lying in front of us, yet you expect me to be calm. You certainly seemed calm enough when I accused you of murder. Wait a second, wouldn't that be the other way round? The other way round? You discovered a murdered body and one person was missing, right? Wouldn't you normally go looking for the missing person? I have to agree with the defense on this one. Well, Miss Fizsplat? Logically speaking, perhaps. But no one was there was thinking very logically, I assure you. Also, without his Steel Samurai costume, Powers doesn't really stand out. We often left him on the bus when shooting that location. No one noticed he was missing. Poor Powers. Well, I suppose that explains that. Very well, Miss Fizsplat, you may continue. What was everyone else doing at that time? No one said a thing. It was silent, completely silent. So we stood there until Powers arrived on the scene. Sorry I'm late. Then, silence. Dead silence. Silence. Hey Nick. Why is everyone so quiet? Someone should do something to lighten things up. Old bag, the security lady. Why did the security lady think Powers had done it? She said because she saw him going towards the studio. Right, the Steel Samurai. Did the detective arrest Mr. Powers based solely on the security lady's word? Perhaps not. She seems to have also given the detective that photograph. Of course, I heard all this after the fact. That photograph, meaning the one taken by the security camera. She's not known for exhibiting the best sense of judgment when it comes to Hammer. I don't think there's anything in there I can use. You asked to be left out? Yes. It seems that everyone else was questioned, and I'm really not fond of that sort of thing. But you can't just decide who the police will and won't question. Thankfully, the studio thinks otherwise. They were nice enough to understand that since we were in a meeting, there was no way we could have been involved, thus they covered for us. Covered for you, or covered it up for you. There must have been a lot riding on it with all those bigwigs at the meeting. I'm sure her professionals helped convince everyone they didn't require questioning. the script and your direction notes? Yes, they are quite valuable. It wouldn't do to have them stolen. No, I guess not. Wait a second. I thought you came to Studio 1 for a rehearsal. Why didn't you bring your script and notes? Well, I was under the impression that we wouldn't be able to rehearse anything. Why? There was a murder after all! Who could think of rehearsing after that? Oh yeah, I guess. Very well. Mr. Squares, please. Your Honour. I have an objection to the witness's last statement. Huh? Think. Miss Fizsplat said she didn't bring the script because there wouldn't be a rehearsal. Don't you see what that means? She would have had to know about the murder before going to Studio 1. Order, order. Mr. Edgeworth. What you have just said is a reasonable observation. However, I find it hard to understand why the prosecution would make such a move. Or are you thinking of a career change to defence? I appreciate the concern, Your Honour. I will stand by my statement, however, regardless of how the court sees my role here. Now, Miss Fizsplat, do you have an explanation? I can't believe Edgeworth is helping me. So the prosecution is in cahoots with the defence. What kind of court is this? No matter. I think you misunderstood me. I had a perfectly good reason to believe there would be no rehearsal. Very well, the witness will change her testimony to reflect this reason. How would she know? Was she there? How did you know about the injury? How did I know? Sal. He told me. Sal, the director. You have to find someone to peg this on her here. Or everything we've done till now will have been wasted. I want to say I present this. Yeah, you knew the hammer was injured. It wasn't Hammer. Don't you think that's a little funny? I mean, it was a Steel Samurai who was injured. It was Will Powers. Mr. Wright, explain yourself. Yes, Mr. Hammer is dragging his leg in this photo, but that's because he was pretending to be Mr. Powers. Pretending? One person was injured in the run-through that morning. That person was Mr. Powers, not Mr. Hammer. Now, why did you think it was Mr. Hammer who was injured? I already said it was Sal who told me. That's right, he must have gotten it wrong. I think not. Mr. Manella was at the run-through that morning. He would have known it was Mr. Powers who was injured. He saw it happen. Why would he tell you the wrong person? Miss Fizsplat, you saw Hammer limping. Actually, you didn't hear anything from Mr. Manella. You saw Mr. Hammer limping with your own eyes. Yes, but wasn't it Mr. Powers who was injured? Yes, but remember, Mr. Hammer was dragging his leg too. He was pretending to be Mr. Powers. And when was he doing this? Well, it would have had to been after he put on the Steel Samurai costume and went to Studio 2 where he was murdered. Exactly. Miss Fizsplat, you met him, didn't you? You saw the Steel Samurai limping. And Mr. Hammer was in that Steel Samurai suit. That's why you were confused. That's why you thought it was Mr. Hammer who had been injured that morning. Order, order. I will have order. Witness. Can you refute this claim? Yeah, let's see you sneak out of this one, Fizsplat. Very well. I have a question for you. Why are the real killers always so persistent? Why in the world would I want Mr. Hammer dead? Yes, he'd fallen on hard times, but it was a start. I had nothing to gain from his death, nothing. Yeah, she would need a motive. Why would she have killed the victim? If there is a reason, it is unclear to this court. Does the defense have anything to say on the matter? In other words, can you prove she had a motive? I want to say I can prove it. Okay, I have proof and I'll show it to you. I present to the court evidence as to Miss Fizsplat's motive in this murder. The picture, right? The photo, right? This is my proof. The photo from before. This photo reveals the motive in this murder. "5 years ago, Mr. Hammer was at the height of his fame. With Fizsplat's help, a terrible accident was swept under the carpet. Ladies and gentlemen, the case currently up for trial. It began on that day 5 years ago." Ironically enough, that accident precipitated Mr. Hammer's fall. His fall from stardom. His guilt weighed him down, no doubt. However, you, Fizsplat, used Mr. Hammer. You made him work for you for petty change. Bringing us to the present day, and Mr. Hammer's last role as the evil magistrate. Yes, undoubtedly it was a constant source of shame for the ex-star. One moment, Mr. Wright. We are talking about motives here, yet you have only talked about Mr. Hammer. It almost seemed as if it was Mr. Hammer who had killed Fizsplat, not the other way around. What motive would Miss Fizsplat have? Yes, that's right. According to what you may say, I would have had no reason to kill Hammer. He was a good source of income for me. And I never get rid of useful men. It's a policy of mine. Mr. Wright, please explain Miss Fizsplat's motive for murder. I want to say no. Maybe. She had no motive, Your Honor. What's that now? It was Mr. Hammer who was out for blood. All Miss Fizsplat did was push him off the stairs in self-defense. What's that now? It's simple. Mr. Hammer was intending to kill Miss Fizsplat. What? Well, that's... yeah. Your Honor. Jack Hammer drugged Mr. Powers with sleeping pills. Jack Hammer snuck into the dressing room and stole the Seal Samurai costume. Jack Hammer wore the costume to fool the security lady into thinking he was Powers. Then Jack Hammer made his way to the trailer. And for what purpose, you ask? To kill Fizsplat, who had so cruelly taken advantage of him over these years. So you did do it, didn't you? Yes. I am guilty. It was me. Someone call an ambulance. There's blood everywhere. We're too late. Miss Fizsplat. What happened here? Manuel fell from the trailer stairs. Manuel? Manuel? Mr. Squares, please try to remain calm. No. How could this... It was an accident. Mr. Hammer was doing an action scene and... No, Manuel! Don't touch him, Miss Fizsplat. Please, please don't die. Please. Congratulations, Mr. Wright. I lose again. Mr. Edgeworth, where's Diva's Quest? In the waiting lobby, Your Honour. As calm as collected as ever. I see. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honour. It appears you have brought about yet another miracle. I thank you, Your Honour. I think not, Your Honour. Will Powers was innocent. That he should be found, so is only natural. Not a miracle. Yes, you're right. Very well. This court finds the defendant, Mr. Will Powers. Not guilty. Yay! That is all. This court is adjourned. Whee! We did it, guys! Woo! I don't know what to say. Thank you so much. I'm just glad you're okay. Yes, but it's sad. I know now that Mr. Hammer stole my costume. It's bad enough that he wanted to kill Miss Fizsplat, but to think that he tried to free me for the murder. It makes me so sad. Tell me why, Mr. Wright. Huh? Tell me, why did Mr. Hammer want to blame me? Why did he want to blame him? That's a good point. I assume it's the... Yeah, I think it's the... It's because you were the Steel Samurai. Because I was the Steel Samurai? Mr. Hammer was a big star once, but he was reduced to acting in the kids' show, and as the villain to boot. The kids loved the Steel Samurai, and so he hated you. I think I understand. He could have just told me. I would have changed places with him at any time. I think you're missing the point. Thank you. I'm just glad it's over. So am I, so am I. Congratulations, WP. Oh. Thanks to you, I'll be able to don the Steel Samurai outfit once more. I can't wait to get back into that sweaty costume and... Is something wrong? No, of course not. Nick Edgeworth. Say something right. I'm not good at small talk. Huh? What? That was too bad, Edgeworth. You don't waste any time gloating, do you? No, I really want to thank you. Fizsplat would have gotten away if you hadn't stepped in. Pleased to meet you, and Powers. Edgeworth. I'm a big fan of your work, Mr. Powers. Liar. Right. I must say, I hadn't expected to meet you again after all these years. Meet again? However, in retrospect, it would have been better if had we not met. Thanks to you, I am settled with unnecessary feelings. unnecessary feelings? Yes, unease and uncertainty. Aren't those kind of necessary? They only serve to get in my way. You listen to me, Miss Phoenix Wright. Don't ever show your face in front of me again. That's what I came here to tell you. Mr. Wright? Was that guy your friend? What, friends? As if. They're rivals, right, Nick? For now we are, I guess. Huh? Why do I get the feeling I'm missing something? Come on, Nick, tell me, what's the deal with you and Edgeworth? And so the curtain closed on another trial. I caused quite a stir by revealing that accident from 5 years ago. It was the talk of the town. Thankfully, Global Studios rethought its programming change. They went back to making kids shows again. Pink Princess. Nick, this is it, the new show that starts today. You going to watch it with me? I'll admit, I was kind of surprised. I didn't think they'd seriously go through with it. You have to buy trading cards too. We have to trade with Cody and their assistant. Fine, I'll do it. Isn't it great that WKP gets to play the lead again? I wonder if they'll show his real face this time. I don't know. I don't think the world is ready for the real world powers. The end. So that's the end of the case. Yay! So we'll be moving on to the next one, which is Turnabout Goodbyes. So it's the last. It's like the last case of this game, but then there's like an extra game afterwards. So it's like Turnabout Goodbyes. So it is kind of like an end. But yes. Maybe we'll do a little sneak peek to show you what's going on. We'll get a little sneak peek. 15 years is a long time to wait. You can't imagine how much I've suffered. You've suffered? But now, the perfect opportunity has presented itself. At last, I shall have my revenge. What? Merry Christmas. It's Edgeworth. So there you go. So the next case is going to be not Phoenix, Edgeworth. Edgeworth's going to be in this case. So looks like he might be going to be the defendant. So till next time, we can start that one. So I hope you guys liked this case, this game so far. I hope you guys liked this video. It was great, and thank you so much for anyone that still watches my videos. It's been a bit up and down and stuff like that. But I try to do videos whenever I can and stuff like that. But thank you again for anyone that still watches them and is subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it. And if you have anything you'd like to tell me or anything like that, please comment down below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. If you do like my videos and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video where we start the next case. So it's very exciting. And I will see you again later. Bye.